Total Screen proudly presents their official podcast, On Screen, with your hosts, Tyson Gifford and William Rohrig. Everybody, and welcome to On Screen, the official podcast of the Total Screen. My name is Tyson.
My name is Will.
And today we are going to be talking about the Nintendo Summer Direct, which turned out to be a partner direct. We are also going to have some news stories and some trailers to go over. Quite a few trailers this time, more so than before. We trimmed it down, but there's still quite a few because ComicCon happened, so we're covering that as well. And then we've also got our On the Horizon segment, which is where we're going to start things off today.
On the horizon.
On the Horizon is where we talk about what's coming up the next week or so, and we're going to start things off with King of the Hill, which is returning on Monday, August 4th on Hulu. This is a, continuation, reboot type series where it's going to pick up with, Bobby's older and the Hills are coming back from, Saudi Arabia, I guess, and it looks like it's going to be pretty good. Then we have The Pickup, which is an action comedy movie with Eddie Murphy and Pete Davidson, where they play, armored truck drivers that are being robbed, and that is coming on Wednesday, August 6th to Amazon Prime. Wednesday is returning on Wednesday, August 6th on Netflix, of course. What other day would it release on?
Naturally.
Mafia, The Old Country is coming out on Friday, August 8th to PC, PS5, and Xbox Series X. Freakier Friday is coming on Friday, August 8th to theaters. That's, Lindsay Lohan, Jamie Lee Curtis sequel to their classic movie. And then Weapons is also coming to theaters on Friday, August 8th. We've talked about this one before, that we were both excited about this. This is Zach Krieger's next movie after Barbarian. But that is what's coming up on the horizon. And now we're going to move on to On Beat. On Beat. On Beat is our news segment, and I said we got one big news story to go over and some trailers to go over. So the big news is the box office returns for Fantastic Four. So right now, from the last time I updated this, which was I think a day ago, it's made $142,255,382 domestic, $99 million and some change international, for a total of $241 plus million global. The opening weekend, it opened in 52 markets. It ended up making about $218 million global, with $118 million domestic and $100 million international.
Mm-hmm.
Superman debuted at $125 million domestic, $95 million international, and $220 million global total. So it's just behind Superman in global return and domestic return, but it's ahead of Superman in international returns, and it's in less markets. So Fantastic Four is in 52 markets. Superman was in 78.
So I saw a Variety article about Fantastic Four box office. I think it was talking about Marvel going forward, and they said Fantastic Four also had, according to them, soft international growth. They said not helped by only 40 million in China, apparently, and they said, the Chinese market
is it's less of that, it's 4 million.
Yeah, they said the Chinese market, which drove these projects to be billion-dollar grosses, is gone, and they don't think it's coming back.
Yeah, China's not interested in American movies anymore, at least for now, unless something changes that in the future.
Right.
It's not a momentary blip, it's a tidal change,
Yeah, tidal change, which is crazy, because the amount that studios, including Disney and Marvel, were catering to that market.
Yeah, even making special versions of the movie with hero scenes. I remember Iron Man 3, the Chinese release had this whole hero plot moment for the doctor that operated on Tony because he was Chinese. And so they put all this extra story about his character in it and stuff to cater to the Chinese audience. And then, they've been censoring shit too, so that air in China. Anything that's gay is being stripped out and stuff like that. So they did a lot to cater to them, and it's not paying off anymore.
Yeah. So, I don't know. So I think it means
so it had a soft opening internationally, but less soft of an opening than Superman did. Superman had an even softer international opening.
Yeah.
But now Superman has crossed over 500 million global, over, it's been out a couple weeks now. F1 also crossed 500 million global, and Jurassic World Rebirth crossed 700 million global. So movies are still doing okay. We're just not getting the big like China money, basically, that we used to expect. And I think the reaction so far has been that like Superman was I think there was less expectation that Superman would do well than Fantastic Four, and Superman ended up performing just barely over Fantastic Four, and that was seen as like a good thing for Superman, where it was seen as like not necessarily a bad thing for Fantastic Four, but like not quite as good as they would have hoped. So, not a bomb by any means, but
not bomb, but the variety, they're very similar between two. I just says the bar for superhero films now is it's just lower. The top out is just lower than it used to be.
Yeah.
Especially without China. So, I think this level is about what we can expect for the foreseeable future.
We talked last week about how, in the Kevin Feige interview, how he talked about the importance of reducing budgets.
Yes.
And this, plays directly into that. I mean, that's why you would reduce budgets, You're expecting less big international returns, so you reduce your budgets. So hopefully they can weather the storm, but they're both still doing good. It's just not that kind of phenomenal success that they were enjoying, 6 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's not much you can say about it. Obviously, it's successful enough. Apparently, Warner's is pretty happy with the performance of Superman. They announced they're moving forward on Supergirl has been in production for a while now, and they pretty much immediately put the focus on that. A bunch of movies are getting put into production now. Wonder Woman is happening. So people are like, oh,
no!
Oh, god damn. You jump scared me with that. It's hopefully not with Gal Gadot returning. I don't think she will be. Hopefully not. But I saw a lot of dumb analyst comments saying, this didn't do enough to launch a new universe. Well, it did, because more DCU movies are happening.
Yeah.
Nothing's being canceled, so.
Yeah, and these movies earn in other ways besides box office too, so. In the same way that Star Wars became big,
Speaking of that, did you see James Gunn confirmed on I think it was Threads, where he was responding to somebody that he's already writing the follow-up Superman. He said sequel, but he's being cagey about it. Because somebody was just saying I hope that now Superman's done, you get a chance to relax. And he replied, well, I'm doing press for Peacemaker Season 2, and I'm writing the sequel to Superman. And then, later he clarified, he said something it's not a direct sequel to Superman, but Superman has a major role.
Yeah.
I'm oh, okay. Whatever that ends up being.
But yeah, I mean, that's where you want to get to with comic book movies. I don't know if that might be too early for DC to be doing that. I trust James Gunn though, but you want to get to the point where instead of going okay, we have another Spider-Man movie, we have another Thor movie, we have another one. You want to get to the point where you can just create stories that just kind of grab elements from that collective universe. Because that's kind of the point of having a collective universe, is that you can do that. You can say, well, what if we have an adventure where these two characters are paired up with each other and they're going on a little road trip or something and they're having an adventure along the way? Or what if we explore this corner or something? It's rather than just another sequel to another movie within that thing and making them all standalone. That's the point of having a collective universe. Is that you can say, yeah, our Spider-Man movie is going to have a big focus on Tony Stark. That's what you want.
Yeah, exactly. That's what you want.
So that is the box office news. Now we're going to move on to trailers. As we said, ComicCon was this last week, so several of these, most of these, in fact, are from ComicCon. And we're going to start out with Gen V. So we had a teaser before. We didn't really have anything giving us more direction about what's going on. It was just kind of hinted at. We knew
this is
something going on with Andre. They have to find some way around that because the actor died, and that's kind of the only thing we really picked up on in the last season, the last trailer.
This one was more of a story trailer, kind of explaining what's going on in season 2, to a degree, obviously. It's not giving everything away. It's interesting, though, that Starlight shows up she recruits the main character to go back to the school because they're developing some sort of weapon there.
There were a number of boys cameos in this. We also had the Deep was in there for like about a frame, and Black Noir showed up.
Yeah, Black Noir showed up, and it's been confirmed like the Deep has like a big role in this season of Gen V too, so. So yeah, it's like a lot more connected to the boys.
Yeah. They've also shown that this new Dean seems even more sinister than we thought from the first trailer.
Yes, yeah. He's definitely like somebody who is like not good.
Yeah. I think it looks good.
It looks solid.
Good.
Yeah, I'm excited for it.
Next, we got a trailer for Peacemaker. We had a teaser before, but now we got like a trailer.
Yeah,
giving us more.
This confirms the multiverse aspect of it, which is interesting too because people like assumed, this was just going to be how they handle the handoff between like season 1 taking place in the DCEU and season 2 being in the new DCU. This is how and it does not look like that's the case at all. It looks like this is being used as the narrative for like a different story reason. Like this is the story because we see Peacemaker and we saw this in the first trailer. Like he goes to interview to be in the Justice Gang. He interviews with Maxwell Lord, he gets called like a loser and he gets rejected. And now like I'm piecing together from like what I saw in this. He finds a universe in his father's quantum space. He finds a universe where he's a beloved hero instead of a loser. And like he kind of retreats into that place. And that is like the central crux of the season, it appears.
Yeah, I heard James Gunn talking about, he said something along the lines of, Peacemaker has fundamentally changed because of his relationships with these characters that became his friends. And he's changed for the better, but now that doesn't undo everything he's done, like the mistakes he's made in the past. And so now he has to kind of like find some kind of point of redemption or something. And part of that story is that he's being tempted by like an easier path.
Right. So. Which is like really cool. So like I'm interested to see what they do with that, where they go with that. That's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Yep. Next we got a trailer for something. This is unlike the others. We didn't have a teaser, nothing for this before, but they had the whole cast there. They were doing interviews and stuff. They showed a trailer for Spartacus House of Asher, not House of Usher. I keep thinking House of Usher, but it's House of Asher.
It's the Spartacus / Edgar Allan Poe crossover you dreamed of.
Yes. The Telltale Gladiator.
Yeah.
But yeah, Spartacus House of Asher. Not only did we get a trailer for this, but like we were able to see kind of some interviews and stuff. They really played into the idea of like they're diverting from history. This is why Stephen S. Tonight found the idea interesting, was because by going back and going like, well, maybe Asher didn't die.
If we change this one thing in the narrative in history, like what else does that change? Right?
Yeah. And so there's going to be like all sorts of things. Like there's going to be a big focus on like a female gladiator that Asher is putting into play. That apparently didn't happen for like another like 100 years or something after that point in history. So it's kind of like pushing Asher as this kind of more progressive. I don't mean like, kind, but progressive like thinking.
No, like that dude was like a grade A douchebag. There's no way he's suddenly like this like kind, caring, progressive person.
But he is progressive thinking.
Yes.
In the sense of like he's thinking ahead and thinking of like new ways of doing things that are like challenging the status quo, but doing it for his own selfish.
He's gonna be like, he's gonna be a radical. But yeah, he's doing it because he thinks it's going to propel him and his business and make him extremely wealthy. I mean, that's why he's doing it.
Julius Caesar is also supposed to be a prominent figure in this season. He was in, I think, just the last season of Spartacus, but in a very small role. He was just kind of like an ancillary character in that, and he's supposed to be a more prominent role in this one. So yeah, we got to see there's more scheming and plotting going on, which is when Spartacus is at its best.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the trailer, we got glimpses. It looks like it's gonna have all the trashy violence and like sex and everything that the original series had. It did look like they toned anything down.
Yeah. That's what made Spartacus great, because Spartacus on its surface is basically like a ripoff of the 300 and is like, okay, it's just, swords and sandals, but with this like graphic novel like aesthetic and this like hyper violence and sexuality and stuff like that. what made Spartacus great is that that's what it presents to you. And then at a certain point, all the scheming, all that trashiness ties into like the schemes and the manipulations and stuff. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, wow, this is like way better than the sum of its parts.
Yeah, exactly. That's what like I loved about the original series.
Yeah. It wasn't good in spite of the trashiness. It was good in part because of the trashiness. Like it all kind of played in together.
Mm-hmm.
So that looks like it's going to be a good time. Next, we got a trailer for the new season of Beavis and Butt-Head. This is season 3 of the reboot.
Yeah.
You count the old ones and it goes way further back. But
it looks hilarious. It looks like got some hilarious storylines. We got a storyline where somehow they became extremely wealthy. They throw a gold bar at James Hetfield's head.
Yeah.
They bit over the head with it. Again, like, I love the reboot. They have 3 different versions of Beavis and Butt-Head in the reboot series. So they have the classic version, then they have like the alien versions and the old versions.
Mm-hmm.
And so you get storylines, like apparently old Butt-Head gets really fat, really morbidly obese. He just says, I'm fat. As crazy as ever. Yeah, excited for it.
Yeah, the remake of Beavis and Butt-Head, or the reboot, or whatever you want to call it, reimagining, recontinuation, whatever, was like a masterclass in kind of how to do that kind of thing. You know, like,
oh yeah,
they just kind of said like, okay, well, if we did this many years after, then Beavis and Butt-Head would be older, so we can do that kind of story. Yeah, but the real strength of the show is in them being these stupid kids. Well, we could do that too. And it's like, that was like a master stroke of like genius, because Beavis and Butt-Head was always in segments. It always had like, it wasn't like a full episode stories. It didn't have seasonal arcs or something. It was just these like short stories. And they just kind of took off their limiters.
Yeah, they smartly realized they don't have to have continuity.
Yeah.
These characters don't have to exist in a continuity. They could just do whatever with these characters and have it work.
Mm-hmm. It was a really smart choice. Really opened up a lot of paths for them, and it looks good. The first 2 seasons were great, so I had no reason to think it isn't. What I saw in this trailer was hilarious, so I'm looking forward to it. And we got King of the Hill coming back too, so it's like the Mike Judge renaissance.
Yes, the Mike Judge.
Next up, we got a trailer for, this is our first non-ComicCon trailer, is for a show called Long Story Short, which is from the creator of BoJack Horseman. And it's an animated show about a family, and I think they're like a Jewish suburban family, it seems to be.
Yeah, it seemed that way, yeah. It looks fun. It looks like, it's going to be a meditation on childhood and family from the perspective of the people who made BoJack Horseman. So yeah, it looks funny.
Did you ever see any of BoJack Horseman?
No.
Okay, so I didn't watch a lot of it, but I watched I think the first season or part of the first season at least. And what was interesting is that it enters as like a comedy, and then it kind of goes into like much darker places. It becomes like less and less of a comedy the more you watch it.
Right, yeah. I know.
It has that entry point. So I think it's interesting when you look at this trailer through that lens. Like, there's obviously comedy there, but then you like, oh, okay, where are the potentials for drama here? And then you can see like, oh yeah, I can see kind of where they might be going with this, like story-wise. So,
right. Oh yeah, totally.
It looks interesting. The last trailer we got was for a movie coming, I believe, to Hulu called Eenie Meanie.
Yep. Samara Weaving plays a getaway driver, very capable. She obviously has dealings with the mob and various, underworld people, and her ex, husband, I guess. Mm-hmm. Maybe her ex, ends up getting in trouble with these people, and she ends up, being forced to be involved. And then, it becomes a story of just her and her ex, having to navigate all these criminals that want them dead.
It's very similar, in premise, not 100%, but very similar to, Duster, which is this, HBO Max series that just recently got canceled. But, it looks more competent. It looks like there's more of a story here, whereas Duster was kind of all about vibes, and the story really didn't seem to go many places. This looks like there's more of a story in place from the beginning.
Right, absolutely.
So, and it's a movie, so they kind of have more leniency to be entertaining within the period of a movie rather than trying to stretch it out to a whole series. But that is it for our trailers, and also it for our On Beat segment. And that leaves us with our coverage of the Nintendo Summer 2025 Partner Direct. We knew that there was a direct coming. It was so heavily rumored that there was a direct coming at the end of the month. Ended up coming on the last fucking day of the month. We delayed recording our podcast by a day because we just knew it was going to be happening. And then yesterday we got the confirmation, oh, it is going to happen. But it's a partner direct, not a full direct. And And I'm just going to run through real quick. We'll talk about things we want to talk about first, but I'm just going to run through real quick what was shown, which was Monster Hunter Stories 3 opened the show. It's for Switch 2. It's coming in 2026. Once Upon a Katamari coming out on Switch 1 on October 24th. Just Dance 2026 coming to Switch 1 on October 14th. Dragon Ball Sparkling Zero, which was heavily rumored, is coming to both Switch 1 and Switch 2. That was not rumored. That's a new facet. On November 12th, Plants vs. Zombie, also coming to both systems on October 23rd. Football Club 2026 coming to both systems on September 26th. Pac-Man World 2 Repack, we didn't know this existed. It's a remake of an old game, coming to both systems on September 26th. Final Fantasy Tactics, also coming to both systems. We already knew about this remake, coming to both systems on September 30th. Persona 3 Reload, this was kind of a surprise, but there had been rumors about that as well, coming to Switch 2 on October 23rd. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, we already knew about that, coming to Switch 2. We don't have a date still on that. That's like a weird one.
That's winter. They said winter.
Yeah, but there's no actual firm date, you know?
Right, yeah, but we have a time frame now.
Winter could mean 2026.
Yeah, no, totally. I'm not saying it's 2025.
Yeah.
I'm saying it's winter, so that means we have a better time frame than just 2026.
Yeah.
You know, so we have anywhere between late November to late March is winter. So with those time frames, I'm predicting it's January or February for that game. That seems like to be correct in my head. But yeah, they gave us something, but they didn't give us a firm date.
Yeah. Madden 2026, we knew about that, coming to Switch 2 on August 14th. Chillin' by the Fire, which Shadow dropped.
You're excited.
This is a cozy game. As I said to you, I think this is an example of a game where Nintendo was like, okay, but where's our farming game? And they realized they didn't have one, so they just found a random indie cozy game and said, well, this is good enough. This is close enough to farming. And they pushed that in, and it was Shadow Drop. That was the first Shadow Drop of the Direct. Not many, but first of a few. Apex Legends, coming to Switch 2 August 5th. That's, free to play.
You don't have to elaborate on that.
Hela coming to Switch 2 on 2026. Star Wars Outlaws, we got a date and some more footage, coming to Switch 2 September 4th. Chronos New Dawn, so this is a game that was previously announced for other systems, but I don't think it's out for anything yet.
No.
It's still coming out, but it's coming out September 5th. I think this might be a day and date.
Yeah, I think this is day and date with the other platforms, which is good.
Yeah, for Switch 2, Yakuza Kiwami 1 and 2. Coming on November 13th, both of those on the same day for Switch 2. We had Kiwami 0 already at launch, and they're just going to keep giving us the old-ass Yakuza games instead of the new ones. Then we got a highlight reel. Shorter highlight reel than usual, I think, but we got Goodnight Universe, which is coming to both systems on November 11th. NBA Bounce, coming to Switch 1 on September 26th. Hello Kitty Island Adventures Wheat Flower Wonderland, coming to Switch 1 on fall 2025. Romancing Saga 2, Revenge of the Seven. This is already out on Switch 1. They announced Switch 2 edition, and it was shadow dropped.
Oh, okay, so that's out now. I think it's a free upgrade if you own the Switch 1 version.
Is it? I didn't see that. I knew it was a Switch 2 edition.
Or it might be like a paid upgrade, but there's an upgrade path. I saw there is an upgrade path.
Yeah, it's a Switch 2 edition, so it's got that. Shinobi Art of Vengeance, the demo is out today, and that is coming to Switch 1 on August 29th. This is one of those where it's like, there's really no reason to make like a Switch 2 version of a pixel art game, you know?
Right, no, it's perfectly fine as it is.
Yeah, that's coming on August 29th. Borderlands 4 coming to Switch 2 on October 3rd. That's finally given a date. We knew it was coming, but we didn't have a date on it yet. And then they closed the show with 2 HD 2D games. A new one called The Adventures of Elliot, The Millennium Tale, which is coming to Switch 2, and there's a demo out today, and that's coming in 2026 to Switch 2. I believe it's already been confirmed for other systems as well, but I'm
both these
on that.
No, it has. Like in both these games are coming to all platforms.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But this is an action adventure instead of like a turn-based typical RPG that you'd normally see with the HD 2D style. Yeah. And then they announced the last game of the show is Octopath Traveler 0, which is kind of a remake, adaptation, remix, I guess, of the mobile Octopath Traveler game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's coming to both Switch 1 and Switch 2 on December 4th.
Okay, let's get into our general thoughts on this. I'm gonna say, like, this is like a pretty mid-direct. I want to give it like a B-.
Even by partner direct standards, it's pretty mid.
Especially for the first partner direct post the launch of Switch 2. If this was like last year, where Switch 1 was the main thing, and we're still waiting for the Switch 2, this would be fine. This would be like, okay, yeah, it's the end of the
Just
Switch's...
a bunch of filler games, yeah.
Yeah, this is the end of the Switch's life. It makes sense. But as the first, this is what third parties have for the Switch 2? Really? Like,
yeah.
If you look at the games that were announced over the summer, like Summer Games Fest, they had like Resident Evil 9, they had a whole bunch of games, not gonna get into it. None of those games were announced for Switch 2, and none of those games were confirmed for Switch 2 here. There's a new Bloodstained game that is not coming. There's a new Bloodstained game that is not coming to Switch 2. Like, that's insane
that we know
to me.
of, so far, yeah.
Well, it was not confirmed here.
Yeah.
That's insane to me to think. Like, we're missing out on, like, some big third-party games. And it's like, we can't be doing this, like, this early into the system's life. What's happening?
Yeah.
Like, this throws, like, alarm bells in my head to say, oh crap, like, Switch 2 isn't going to get that deluge of third-party support we thought it was going to get.
Yeah, the implications of this are even worse than the direct was born. It's frustrating. I was saying to you before we start the podcast, it's like, even if it was just going to be a bunch of old ports, and it wasn't going to be like new games, there's better old ports.
There's not even old ports.
Come on, give us like a major old port.
Ubisoft, doesn't even have any Assassin's Creed games. Like, that's their main franchise.
Yeah.
Like, you think, Assassin's Creed
Assassin's
Mirage?
Creed Shadows already fucking rated in somewhere for Switch 2?
I thought I saw something about that, but yeah.
Why wasn't that here? Like, that would be amazing. Like, It's an old game. It's like a game that's already out on the other system, so it's an old port, but it's a major one. I'd rather hear about that than like a Plants vs. Zombies remake or fucking...
Yeah, I don't know,
a fire building simulation,
Right, yeah, I expected much more, because like what should have been happening is Resident Evil 9 should have been announced, Call of Duty should have been announced. All these big marquee system-selling games.
Call of Duty is like a contractual obligation. Where the fuck is that?
Those games should be getting announced for the Switch too.
Yeah,
like,
I think
it shouldn't be like,
if Call of Duty isn't coming out this year, they should announce that it's not coming out this year instead of making people wait on it,
Yeah. Oh, here's a remaster of Plants vs. Zombies. It's like, what has happened? This is just like the continuation of the third-party support Nintendo has been getting for the Switch 1, which is like, fine, but like, I really expected the Switch 2 to step it up, because I had assumed what was holding back Switch 1 third-party support was just the fact that the console was using technology more akin to an Xbox 360 than a PS5. Which is like, yeah, okay, that's understandable, but now we got something much more powerful. I don't see why these games can't start coming. But they're not. But anyway, getting into the games that were actually announced, the stuff that like actually piqued my interest, that I care about, that I thought was cool. I thought Monster Hunter Stories 3, that was nice to see. I actually clocked that as Monster Hunter Stories almost as soon as this trailer started, before like the Capcom logo even came up, because I was like, huh? Oh, anime? Oh, this is like an anime RPG. And I saw the egg and I'm like, oh, that's Monster Hunter Stories.
Yeah.
And then the Capcom logo and I'm like, oh.
And you knew specifically not Monster Hunter Stories.
Right, yeah, because no Monster Hunter game looks like an anime. So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So I knew this. So I thought that's cool. I said, okay, yeah, that's cool. They're continuing that. Once Upon a Katamari looks fun. Again, it's like, I'm happy to see Persona 3 Reload coming to Switch 2.
That might be the only game on this list that I'm getting. I'm not sure, but
Cronos, New Dawn looks like it looks like a good horror game. That looks like it's going to be a good time.
I look at this entire lineup, and the only game I'm thinking I'm probably going to get that is Persona 3 Reload. That's like the only one that I'm like,
going to get Monster Hunter Stories. I'm definitely getting Adventures of Elliot. I'm going to download that demo. I was like, okay, that looks really fun. That's an action RPG, HD 2D. That's great. That was a good game to end it on, I think. I was like, okay.
But they didn't end it on that.
They ended it on Octopath Traveler,
on a remix of a mobile game.
Which I'm less excited for Octopath Traveler 0, like I am Adventures of Elliot. But it's fine. It's cool. But there's not much. I mean, I like Pac-Man World too, I guess, but there was nothing here that made me say like, oh my god, this is happening. Like, I didn't have that reaction to anything. So it's kind of weird. I'm actually thinking of probably giving this a C, actually, because there's so little that...
When you said I'm actually thinking, I thought you were going to say of selling my Switch too.
Not as long as Bonanza exists.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, I think this was weak. This was incredibly weak. And people wondering about first party. I think we're still getting a direct in September to clear up some first party stuff. I think that's when we're going to get the date for Metroid Prime 4. I think that's when we're going to get more information on first party games. I think they want to get, maybe this direct was just to get this filler out of the way.
Contractual obligations.
Yeah. And then this was just to clear out some filler so that we can get to some bigger announcements in the fall. Maybe.
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Hey, maybe there'll be a direct next week. We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know. Yeah, exactly.
Nintendo's done that before. They've done that, but they've given us a lackluster direct, and we were all disappointed. And then next week they had a major one.
They had a major one, yeah. I definitely think September for the next big general direct.
That seems most likely.
Yeah. But yeah, that wasn't it. I don't really have any thoughts on this direct other than that. Just disappointment. But that's it.
Yeah, it's just a very disappointing direct. I'd go even lower than a C. I'd say this feels like a drought era direct.
A struggle era direct, yeah.
Yeah. It just feels like, okay, your system's in drought and you're bored and you're like, oh, what the fuck are we gonna do? And stuff like that. I just went from watching this direct to going maybe I'll just go play Donkey Kong Bonanza. That's actually fun.
And also, the worst part of this direct, all these games are game key cards.
Yeah.
I saw, the listings went up after direct. Everything's a game key card. Literally everything announced in this direct. Except for probably Hyrule Warriors, because Nintendo is publishing that. That's pretty sure going to be physical, but all third-party stuff, even the Adventures of Elliot, which is a 5 gig game, is a game key card.
Yeah, well, I mean, the rumor is that they only have game key card and a 64 gig card.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then it doesn't matter if the game's only 5 gigs.
Apparently, Borderlands 4 is 45 gigs, and that's a game key card. Okay, they could have sprung for the 64 gig card on that. That wouldn't have fit it in any smaller cards anyway. So it's I don't know.
Yeah. Game key card stuff doesn't, I think it's kind of shitty and annoying and stuff, but it doesn't affect me because I'm digital, you know? So
I was physical on Switch, but I am digital on other platforms. I'm digital, obviously, on PC. I'm digital on PlayStation.
Wait, you mean you don't have a physical Steam library?
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's crazy. I'm digital on PlayStation just merely because the PlayStation 5 without a disc drive was $100 cheaper. People don't talk about that. The fact that Sony upcharges you $100 for the privilege of having a disc drive and being able to use physical media. People, don't bitch about that. They probably should have.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of stuff Sony does that people don't bitch about, but then they bitch about when Nintendo does. Suing a company making a game that rips off your game.
Right. And, I haven't bought, a physical Xbox game in, over a decade now, so...
You know when was the last time I bought a physical Xbox game?
When?
Never.
It was, the 360 era, for sure. The last time I've
never owned a 360 or any of the Xbox games, systems.
You missed out. 360 was an amazing system.
I think there's one game that I wanted on the 360, and unfortunately
Bayonetta.
It's probably never gonna come back. No, I ended up getting that on Wii U, so it didn't matter. The one game I'm missing from the 360 is Lost Odyssey.
Yeah, that's Microsoft owns that IP, I think. So yeah, you're kind of out of luck there.
Oh, they're releasing their systems.
They're multi-platform now, so maybe not.
Yeah, but I think it's more that they just decided that they don't give a shit about their Japanese games that they have.
No, they don't.
They paid to get these exclusives, and then they didn't do well because they marketed their system entirely to Western audiences. And then they said, oh, what do we do now? And they said, let's just pretend it doesn't exist. And so, unfortunately, I don't think I'm ever going to get a chance to play that game, but that's neither here nor there. It's what we're talking about.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about this direct, really.
It sucked.
Yeah, I wish it was a better conversation, but then it would have had to have been a better direct.
We got I guess 2 full shadow drops and 2 demo shadow drops.
I'm still I'm going to download the demo for Elliot for sure.
You should download the demo for
that
Shinobi
was probably
Art of Vengeance too.
Oh yeah, that definitely. I'm definitely getting Shinobi Art of Vengeance. Unfortunately, the physical copy is through limited run games. But I'm definitely getting Shinobi for sure. Yeah, no, that's it. The Adventures of Elliot was my favorite game that they showed at the direct, so yeah.
For me, it was Persona 3 Reload, and what that says is the game that I'm most anticipating, the only game that I'm pretty much, like there's no 100% certainty, but let's say I feel about 90% certain that I'm gonna pick up Persona 3 Reload on Switch 2, and everything else is like 40% or below for if I'm gonna pick it up or not. You know, it's like, maybe some of them, I look at the Adventures of Elliot, I'm like, maybe. I look at like Octopath Traveler 0 and I'm like, if I'm desperate, you know. The only one I'm looking at on this whole list where I'm like, yeah, probably, is Persona 3 Reload, and that is a over a year old port of a game that's a remake of a PlayStation 2 game.
Yeah, I agree.
That's just, it's like, really? That's the game of the show for me? It's kind of like, okay. But yeah, very, very disappointing direct, in my opinion. Hopefully we get something that makes up for it later, because this is just not a great showing. Nintendo's got a lot of anxiety building up amongst their fans, I think.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, definitely.
But that is it for this week's podcast. Next week, we are going to be talking about Death of a Unicorn. You know, unless Nintendo, like, surprises us with a full direct.
Yeah, if there's another direct, we'll be covering that instead, yeah. Don't think so. I wouldn't place any bets on it, but it could happen.
But if that is not the case, we'll be talking about Death of a Unicorn, which is available on HBO Max. That is a A24 movie starring Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd. And yeah, that's I saw it in theaters a while ago. I'm gonna rewatch it. You're gonna get your first chance to watch it, and that'll be our topic next week, like I said, unless we're surprised with something. But until then, thank you everybody for listening. You can follow me on Twitter. I'm at Tyson Gifford. You can follow Will. He is at FoxOHero. Same handles for Blue Sky. You can also check out our website, thetotalscreen.com. If you go to our website and open up the container story for any of our podcast episodes and scroll down to the bottom paragraph, you'll find all of the links to our SoundCloud page, our RSS feed, all of our social stuff. It's all there. You can also subscribe to a podcast in your favorite podcast find of choice, like Apple Podcasts and Pocket Casts. And the entire backlog of this podcast, as well as additional content, is available on our YouTube channel, so check that out as well. Thank you everybody for listening. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you for listening to the OnScreen podcast, the official podcast of The Total Screen. Visit our website at thetotalscreen.com. This podcast can be found on any major podcast client, including Pocket Cast and Apple Podcast. The entire backlog of this podcast and other content can be found on our YouTube channel.